I think we know you're sitting in front of the Colts stuff because you knew where we were going to start this conversation. We got to address the elephant in the room. I mean, Jeff Saturday kicking butt on a Sunday last week. First off, I guess just would like to get your initial reaction last week. I don't know if you had an inkling that this was going to happen beforehand at all or anything like that, but, just when you first heard the news of Jeff Saturday taking over, what'd you think?
I was just as shocked as everybody, Chris. I had talked to Frank Reich a couple of days before that, talked to him about the change he was going to make with his offensive coordinator, and we talked through that. He's looking 3, 4, 5 weeks down the road, and I was shocked when I heard he was released. And then I had talked to Jeff Saturday. Believe it or not, we were trying to coordinate a speaking engagement. I was going to come down and speak at an event that he was hosting in Atlanta. We're talking about that. Talking about the season, no talk about the Colts or anything. And I hear that news. It was just unbelievable. But, Jim Irsay, I have to say this. When he gets something in his mind,
right,
that's the way he goes. And the same thing happened with me when I got fired by the Bucs. He called me and said, "Hey, you're the guy I want, and I'm hiring you. Don't even call your agent. Just write down a number and tell me what you want. Send it to me, and you got it." I mean, that was our negotiation. He had made up his mind. And he told me later on, he said he was a fan of the Steelers, the way they did it. He was a fan of what I did down here. That's the way he wanted to put his team together, and nobody was going to change his mind. So he had an opinion of what the team needed. He felt like Jeff could bring that. And when you really think about it, it was kind of logical. Okay, I don't have many choices. I need somebody who can energize the building.
Right.
I need somebody who's a leader. And I need somebody to help our offensive line, which is the most underperforming unit on our team right now. And so Jeff made sense, even though he didn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I mean, it's easy to sit here now for a guy like me to think about it and go, yeah, there is some things that make sense about it. And maybe, the way they played on Sunday certainly helps out, or at least helps me in that thought. But other thing I just want to ask you, did you ever know that, Jim Irsay had that kind of affection for Jeff Saturday to maybe even be on the radar for this type of conversation, or even vice versa, that Jeff Saturday was ambitious to want to be a head coach of the Colts one day?
Yeah, I knew they had a great relationship. No, I didn't know Jeff would even think about coaching.
Yeah.
And, we talked about high school coaching and how much effort that took. Now his kids are a little older now, and they're out of the house. So that makes a difference too. But yeah, Jim had that kind of affection, but you don't always know that. I got hired as an assistant coach at 25 years old. I had never coached in my life. I didn't know Coach Noel felt that way about me. He brought me back to coach guys who were older than me, who taught me defense, and it didn't make any sense at the time. But he saw something in me, and maybe Jim Irsay sees the same thing in Jeff. But I think what we have to understand, this might be a long-term decision, but this was really about an 8-week decision. What can we do to win these games right now? What's the best move we have? And he thought it was Jeff Saturday.
Yeah, it's amazing. Echo or just some of the sentiment of Jeff Saturday, the player, and just what he was like then, and how cerebral he was, and could you understand him being able to pull off this type of job? I mean, him and Peyton Manning must have been some little combination you had there on the offensive side of the ball.
I absolutely could see it, Chris. This is a guy who was a free agent, undersized guy who nobody thought was going to make it. He works himself into a Pro Bowl center. He is the glue of the offensive line. He and Peyton Manning and Tom Moore and Howard Mudd, they're having meetings. How are we going to do this? When we recognize this, how are we going to block this? He's kind of orchestrating everybody up front and involved in the process of what we're going to do. He's a leader. He's coming into my office and telling me what's going on with the team. Hey, we might need to think about this, coach. We are really overworked. You might want to think about cutting back. That's one conversation I had with him after our Super Bowl year. Hey, our off-season program, we might want to look at this. We played about 15 extra games now in the last 5 years. We practiced for sometimes 6 weeks after the regular season is over. Maybe we don't want to think about cutting back. And he had a great point. So I ended up changing the program for the veteran players in the offseason because of him coming in and making a suggestion. And he wasn't afraid to come into my office. You know how coaches say, my door is always open. Well, there's only one or two guys who are coming in there. And Peyton Manning was one, Jeff Saturday was the other one. Guys would come in to his locker and say, hey, can you talk to coach about this, this, and this? And he would be the guy to come in and do it.
Wow, yeah. So that shows. It shows, and he sees the big picture, and that's where I kind of want to go with you next, because I watched the offensive side of the ball, the film of that game, yesterday a little bit, and some of the things you're saying I think kind of jump out to me, and I'm going to lay some of them out there, and you tell me if you agree, disagree, either way. But man, first off, that was the best game the offensive line played all year. It's hard not to think Jeff Saturday didn't have a say in that, right? I mean, they ran the ball as good as they've run. They protected Matt Ryan as good as they protected the quarterback all year. And I thought that was something that jumped out too, Coach. And two, with that, and I want you to jump off of this here in a second, it's almost like he simplified things too. It's like they only ran 3 run plays in the run game. It was 3 run plays, and it was just like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're not going to overthink it. Do it right. Do it physical and fast and hard, and we'll have some success. And that has to be the effect of Jeff Saturday. Am I wrong in that?
You're right, and I'm laughing because Jeff Saturday for 7 years heard his head coach say, when things aren't going well, do what you do best and do less. And so he comes in and says, all right, we're going to give Jonathan Taylor the ball. No question about it. We're going to cut back. We're going to run 3 or 4 plays. We're going to run them well in the running game. And we're going to throw a little more quick rhythm. We're going to get people open quick and get.
Definitely.
Our quarterback has been sacked more than any quarterback in the NFL. That's not going to happen on Sunday. So they rush for 170-something yards. They get sacked one time and they score points. And they did it by doing what they do best and doing less.
Yeah, no question. It was the number one thing that jumped out to me. And like you said, too, there was only 2-3 plays the whole game where Matt Ryan was asked to, like, hey, hold the ball and let's maybe wait for the 10 or 15-yard completion. For the most part of the day, it was that quick passing game, some RPOs that I thought I hadn't even seen in their attack before that were a part of it. So, again, it's one of those where you go, wow, that was a weird decision for a guy like me. I knew he could lead some people and maybe rally the troops emotionally, but it's hard not to look at it and think he didn't have effect on the football game overall. And what's your thoughts of the Colts going forward here, Coach? We know the defense is like real. It's real. Do you think they can be?
I said I would not have made the change from Frank Reich because they're 3-5-1. I think they're right in the heart of things. You win a couple of games in a row, you're right back in the playoff hunt, and this is a great year to be in the playoffs. Because I don't think there's a super team out there.
You're right.
Because they had already beaten the Chiefs. Now, we're going to say the Chiefs might be the best team in the AFC, and they beat them already.
Yeah.
So I think the Colts can be right there. Keep running Jonathan Taylor. Keep doing what you're doing. Rely on the defense. It's not a tough formula. Washington showed us that formula the other night. Let's run the ball. Let's keep the pressure off our defense. Let's just hustle and play aggressive, and we're playing against an undefeated team. Let's see what happens. And I think that's where Jeff went in and said, you know what, this is who we're going to be. And I might be here for 2 weeks or 8 weeks, but this is who we're going to be. We're going to play aggressive. We're going to play tough. We're going to run the ball. Offensive line, you got to earn your money. And they did.
They did. There was a different attitude with the offensive line. It was the way they fired off the ball, and I think the simplification that you talked about gave them the confidence, no doubt. I'm with you, Coach. Their D. It's every bit the 4th-ranked defense in football. It's not a mirage. Go ahead.
I also think Jeff went to Matt Ryan and said, hey, I'm a center. I'm not a quarterback, but you can't hold the ball. So you look at your first read. If the guy's open and it's a 4-yard gain, throw it to him.
Right.
And he was doing that, and they got some short ends that turned into touchdowns when guys running after the catch, but he got it to those receivers and said, hey, we're going to take 5 yards instead of -8. and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's right. And really, you talked about the one sack. That was the only bad play Matt Ryan really had the whole day, of holding the ball a little too long. And
when the guy was wide open in the flat for the first down.
First down, and damn, you're in field goal territory, and then they missed the field goal. And I was like, oh, man, that's the Colts. Even Jeff Saturday can't fix that. But he fixed it. And, Coach, I don't know. You just brought up Washington and the Eagles, and I kind of want to go there next. But because I want to talk about the Eagles, but I don't know. I'm one of those, after seeing last week, going, I don't think it's crazy to think the Colts can keep this close with the Philadelphia Eagles with that defense, and if they can run the ball, and we saw somebody can run on Philadelphia, I don't think it's crazy to have that thought, unless you say I'm crazy, then I'll believe you.
No. What was the Washington formula? Okay, we're going to run the ball. We're going to make first downs. We're going to convert 3rd down and 3. We might even miraculously run it on 3rd down and 3. Who knows? But we're going to keep the ball. We're going to not give up big plays. We're going to make Jalen Hurts make several throws, and we'll see what happens. And that's a formula that the Colts can follow. They can definitely run the football. They can pound it in there. They can make the occasional big play when they get one-on-one. They can. They have some receivers who can win. And defensively, I think they're going to rally and use their speed and make, Philly's not going to score on big chunk 40-yard plays.
Right. That's what you can count on from the Colts. Thanks for watching, homies. Hit subscribe to see all my unbuttoned videos. You get to see me, Ahmed Fareed, all the big player breakdowns, game breakdowns, player interviews, and my film analysis. So please subscribe. Chris Simms Unbuttoned. Peace out.